What is the Golden Dawn Party? That's the Nazis. What is on the front page of the New York Times today? The Nazis have an issue with immigration. What a surprise. They're Nazis. Because of that, it is leading to ugly violence. This man was allegedly beat up by members of Golden Dawn. There have been hundreds of other incidences like this all across Greece. Why? Because people are animals at their most base self. When the economy gets worse, people become more and more animal-like. When the economy gets worse than it is now, and many are predicting it will, and illegal immigrants are still costing us over $100 billion a year, you don't think that there would be 3% of the people who would decide to take action in their own hands? Yes! There are neo-Nazis in this country. You don't think that they'll say, it's them! And you know who will join their ranks? People who are weak and tired, sick and tired of being ignored. The people who feel disenfranchised and wronged. I've paid you my tax money. You hold me to a set of laws and you don't live by them. That's all it takes. And we're planting the seeds here in America and all over the world that lead to Greece. This is why. In 17 days from today, we gather for the third restoration, the third and final in the series. We gather to restore love. It has been a 3-year journey to restore honor, courage, and love. These 3 things are the answer, because coupled together they win every time. But we have to commit to them. So how do we know what they even look like? Well, honor. It's doing the right thing all the time, when nobody's looking, and when people are looking. It's treating the people same, whether it's a secretary or the CEO. It's keeping your commitment, like being faithful to your wife, not cheating on your taxes. It's telling the truth every time, even if the truth hurts you. George Washington started the Purple Heart. I'm wearing it here. Purple Heart. It was originally the badge of merit, and it was to recognize those who lived and fought with honor. It wasn't for being wounded. It was for merit. Do something honorable. But to do that, it took courage. Phase 2. What is courage? Courage is required to be honorable. Bonhoeffer said, not to stand is to stand. Not to speak is to speak. He said those words because he was trying to get people to stand up. People knew it was wrong, but they wouldn't stand up. And he said, by sitting down, you are speaking. He also said, God will not hold us blameless. Courage. And the last piece of the recipe is love. Love makes you do honorable things and have the courage for the right reason. We were not designed to be a nation of men over or men over laws, but rather a nation of laws over men. History is really clear on what happens to a nation that celebrates personalities over principle. It leads to mass graves every single time. It doesn't matter, you're fascist, communist, it doesn't matter. If you marry into a personality, it's why I say don't trust me. I don't want your trust. I want you to do your own homework. Tell your friends that don't trust me, look it up. Don't argue with me, look it up. then they have the choice to make. Look, you know one thing in Ezekiel that is so clear to me, and I was just talking to a guy who's a farmer. Last week he said, Glenn, what a burden it is. And I said, what a burden it is, what a blessing it is. I've got millions of people read Ezekiel. Millions of people. If I don't speak out, their blood is on my hands. However, if I say it and they choose differently, you're on your own. It's a blessing because I have millions that can hear my voice. It's a blessing to me because it forces me to do something. You, most likely, are like him. You think you don't affect anybody. You are a watchman on the tower. You were there at the gates. You see it coming. Everyone you don't say it to, their blood is on your hands. If you say it and they reject it, that doesn't matter. Good luck with that. We are heading down a path, as I showed you yesterday, where we are becoming about personality, left or right. Personality over fact. People are ignoring obvious lies and going with the person that they like best. I don't know, I'd like to have a beer with that guy. Oh, that's good. It's going to be a tough one for Romney because he doesn't drink, and let's be honest. I mean, I think he's a really good, decent man. But you want to hang out with him? Be like, okay, well, we're having a good time at a party, huh? Doesn't sound like, you know what? It sounds like a party with me. I think not drinking and being a kind of a stick in the mud is a positive trait for a guy who sits in that office. One cable news host said this. Watch this.
A teenage taste of beer aside, Mitt Romney does not consume alcohol, which begs the question, will total abstention put his candidacy, perhaps even this great nation, in jeopardy?
What? What? Yeah, you just gotta cut loose from time to time. You know what really pisses me off as President of the United States? What are you, crazy? Having a sober president is a bad thing? It could put us in jeopardy. He doesn't smoke pot. Look, you have occasional beer, God bless you. I can't, okay? I can't for two reasons. One, religious reasons, and two, I'm an alcoholic. You have a beer, don't have a beer. I don't give a flying crap. If you're the President of the United States, don't be drunk, okay? I don't want you drunk. But I don't need you to be my buddy. I need a leader. I need a leader that I don't like, but has my principles. If we go based on a popularity contest, who's the coolest, and we put all of our hope into them to solve our problems, we are then ripe for fascism. In 1966, our former Secretary of Agriculture, Ezra Taft Benson, gave a warning in his speech recounting his conversation with Khrushchev, the leader of the Soviet Union in the 50s and the early 60s. Watch this, it's bone-chilling.
As we talked face to face, he indicated that my grandchildren would live under communism. After assuring him that I expected to do all in my power to assure that his and all other grandchildren will live under freedom, he arrogantly declared in substance, "You Americans are so gullible. No, you won't accept communism outright. But we'll keep feeding you small doses of socialism until you finally wake up and find you already have communism. We won't have to fight you. We'll so weaken your economy until you fall like overripe fruit into our hands."
I know his grandson. He said he remembers his grandfather telling that story at a family meeting, and he said he was about this high, and he remembers looking at his grandfather's hand when he told that story. He was right. We are about to fall into somebody's hand like overripened fruit. So what do we do? Well, for starters, we can elect a president that recognizes the problem at the border. We can elect a guy who doesn't unilaterally enact policies that encourage things to go worse. We can go with a guy who says, you know what, I don't agree with the law, and I'm going to work to change the law and convince the people to change the law, but I will abide by the law. More importantly, you have to start thinking small. You have to start thinking about your local elections and how they matter. Make sure your towns are strong. Make sure your mayor isn't offering to make your city a safe haven for sanctuary for illegal immigrants. Make sure your congressman is strong, not just a Republican. That doesn't mean anything. Are they a progressive Republican? Are they a small government or a big government? Republican. Are they going to be responsible and stick to their values? What is the condition of their soul? Do they know that their soul is in jeopardy? I want to show you some people that I don't know if I trust these guys. I don't trust any of them. But I want you to know, we've told you about the Senate candidate, Ted Cruz, here in Texas. But there's some other people. There's Ted Cruz that's still up. His election is hanging in the balance. There's also John Brunner, Senate from Missouri. Jeff Flake. I know Jeff Flake. I think he's an honorable man. He's from Arizona. There's Connie Mack running for Senate in Florida. Josh Mandel running for Senate in Ohio. Richard Murdoch, Senate in Indiana. Tom Smith, Senate in Pennsylvania. These guys might tip the scales our way. Small government and ethics. All these guys could go bad. But right now, they are running against the big government Republican machine. Elections are the most powerful tool that we currently have at our disposal. And you are put in charge of hiring the people who represent you. So it is our duty to hold them accountable when they mess up. And it is our duty to vote in the first place. Too many of us believe the lie that our vote doesn't matter. Or, do you know what the #1 reason is that people don't vote? You ready for this one? This I find amazing. #1 reason, I'm busy. I was just too busy. I was busy. How? Too busy to stop for 10 minutes? I don't care if it's 10 hours. Do you know there's people around the world that would give their right arm for the opportunity to have their voice and their vote count? Your entire country is on the line, and you know it. We can't push that responsibility off to somebody else and hope for the best. Just like we can't send our kids off to public school and hope that the teachers do a good job. If you aren't voting or teaching your children, that means somebody else is. Step to the plate, America. And do it with honor, courage, and love. We restore these 3 things, and it will restore America, because those 3 things restore what America and the rest of the world is missing. What could that be? I'll show you by the end of tonight's show. But remember, we complete the trilogy in 17 days. Here in Dallas, Texas, at Cowboy Stadium. You want tickets? There are still some seats available until Friday. We cut them off. There are still some people that have tickets, may not use them. Send them to us. Write to mercury1.org now. Go to questions@mercury1.org. If you have tickets at Cowboy Stadium and you can't use them, there's a long list of people who want to go. If you want to get your name on that list, you want tickets, get your name on that list, write to questions@mercury1.org. Do it now. In 17 days, we finish the trilogy here in Dallas, Texas.